Hi garden friends, I'm here with science kit number 11. This is our third week on our tree unit, and this week we're learning about the tree life cycle. So for this activity, you're going to need your science kit number 11. You'll want to get your science notebook out, and you need a pencil with an eraser, and then something to color with, crayons, color pencils, markers, whatever version of those you would like. And I think you won't need scissors and glue. This is for the 4th and 5th graders. So 4th and 5th graders don't need the scissors and glue. You just need the pencils and something to color with. So you can go ahead and read the introduction there on your own. Your first activity is going to be to update your KWL chart. Remember, that's the what I know, what I want to know, and what I've learned about trees that you should have in your science notebook. So you want to go through that and update. The past couple of weeks we've been learning all about trees, so you can add to the L column, the learn column, what have you learned the past few weeks about trees? And then maybe think about what else you'd like to know, what else you want to know, and add some things to your W column. And then you're going to work on your worksheets. So for the 4th and 5th graders this week, we have a reading passage that describes the life cycle of an oak tree. And then we have some questions about that oak tree. And then you also have an acorn anatomy diagram. We're going to do that in a separate video. So I'm going to read this. You don't have to stay and watch the video while I read to you if you don't want to. But after I read it, we'll work on the comprehension questions. So it's up to you whether you want to stay or if you just want to read it on your own, that's great too. The life cycle of an oak tree. An oak tree starts out as an acorn, a nut. A hard outer shell protects the soft inside. A tiny germ of a plant is inside waiting to sprout. Oak trees grow many acorns each year. Acorns start out as green but turn brown in the fall. Animals such as squirrels and birds take some acorns away. They drop the acorns or bury them. Some acorns sink into the ground where they fell. An acorn anchors itself with a root. In the spring, rain falls and the acorn shell cracks. A little shoot comes out of the shell and begins to grow up. Leaves grow from the acorn's shoot. The acorn is now a seedling that drinks water from the soil. The leaves gather nutrients from the sun. The seedling grows bark on the trunk that continues to thicken. It grows taller and stronger. Small branches and more leaves grow. The roots spread out under the soil. The seedling becomes a sapling, a baby tree. It cannot make acorns yet, though. The sapling gets stronger and grows thicker and tougher. Its branches spread out more and thick leaves grow and become a mature oak tree. After around 20 years, the oak tree grows acorns of its own. They fall off and the cycle starts all over again. Oak trees can grow to be more than 100 feet tall. That is very tall. Okay, so we have these questions to answer about that reading passage. Now you can write your name up here, but also if you'll just glue this into your science notebook after you do the activity, you probably don't really have to write your name there because your name is on your notebook. It's up to you though. I know it's a good habit to have to write your name on your paper. So, name 2 facts about an acorn. Now, there were lots of facts about the acorn in that reading passage, so you can pick whatever appeals to you. So I am going to say that an acorn is a seed of an oak tree. Okay, and what other fact? I wonder what facts you're thinking of. I think I'm going to also write down that the acorn begins green, then turns brown. Question number 2 asks us, when does an acorn turn brown? So if you remember from the passage, it told us that an acorn, I don't know if I'll be able to find it easily, an acorn turns brown in the fall. So let's use complete sentences. An acorn turns brown in the fall. Question number 3 is, what happens to acorns that have fallen to the ground in the spring? So the acorns fall to the ground, and let's check. In the spring, rain falls and the acorn shell cracks. So the acorn has anchored itself with a root and the acorn shell cracks. So if we're thinking about that, because the next step then is it's going to shoot up. So it's doing roots and shoots. So that is the process of germination. So you can say that in the spring, acorns germinate. When does an acorn become a seedling? Let's see. Okay. So a little shoot comes out of the shell and begins to grow up. Leaves grow from the acorn's shoot. The acorn is now a seedling that drinks water from the soil. So a seedling needs to have leaves. So when the leaves grow, whoops. I don't know, that wasn't very erasable. The acorn becomes a seedling. Why are the leaves on a seedling important? Now I wonder if you can remember what leaves on a plant do. They're full of chlorophyll, right? So the leaves are important because that's where photosynthesis happens. And photosynthesis is the process by which a plant makes its own food. So the leaves are important on the seedling so that it can create food, so that it can grow, right? If it doesn't get any food, it's going to have a hard time growing. So the leaves on a seedling are important. Leaves on a seedling are important because that's where photosynthesis takes place. All right, what is a sapling? So if I go back and I refer to this again, just to make sure I remember what it considered a sapling. So the seedling has grown taller and stronger, small branches and more leaves grow, and roots spread out under the soil. So A sapling needs to have branches and more leaves and needs to have roots that are spreading out. I think the branches are the main determining factor. So a sapling is a baby tree with branches, many leaves, and roots spreading under the soil. How many years does it take an oak tree to start growing acorns of its own? I wonder if any of you might just remember that without even having to go back and check the text. I remember because I was surprised to see that it was so long. I did not realize it was 20 full years before an oak tree can grow its own acorns. So it takes 20 years before an oak tree makes acorns. Okay, so there's our questions for our life cycle of an oak tree. Now, if you would like to do some drawing, let me get back to the story. Here we go. If you would like to draw something, let me show you my little, you can just free draw this in your science notebook. If you want to make a visual representation of the life cycle of the oak tree, like this, you can draw it right in your science notebook. So we've got germination here. That's the acorn cracking and starting to send up a shoot. And then we have roots and shoots. And we have a seedling and a sapling. And then this is my mature oak tree that's got its acorns. And then we have the acorn or the seed. So you're welcome to draw a circular representation in your science notebook if you are into drawing. If you're not into drawing and you just want to do the questions, that's great too. I know some of our friends really like to do art, and not everybody. I don't feel very like I'm a very good drawer, so I probably would skip that part if I didn't need it as an example. So whichever way you want is great, and thanks so much for going through this activity with me. Be sure and check on the video for the anatomy of an acorn, because we'll do that one as a separate video. That's the other paper you have in your packet. Okay, thanks, garden friends. Take care.